Don't die, officer. I'll save you and your dog. A 7-year-old homeless girl whispered those words into the howling blizzard, her frozen hands pressed against a dying man's chest. His blood soaked through her torn gloves. His police canine lay motionless beside him, foam crusting around his muzzle. Beaten, poisoned, dumped like garbage beneath a frozen bridge. She was 41 pounds of skin and bone. She hadn't eaten in 3 days, and she was the only thing standing between them and death. What this child did next would expose a 47 murder conspiracy and reveal the horrifying truth about her own mother's death. Before we begin, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. And if stories like this touch your heart, please subscribe and stay with us until the very end. You won't believe how this unfolds. Lily Harper hadn't eaten in 3 days. Her stomach had stopped growling yesterday. Now it just sat inside her like a stone, heavy and silent. She learned that hunger came in stages. First it screamed, then it whispered, then it went quiet, and that's when you knew you were in trouble. She was 7 years old. She weighed 41 pounds, and she was completely alone in the world. The wind cut through her coat like it wasn't even there. Because really, it wasn't much of a coat anymore. Just a green thing that used to belong to someone else, faded to the color of dirty dishwater held together with safety pins and hope. Lily pulled it tighter anyway. Habit. She moved through the back alleys of Pinewood Falls like a ghost. That's what she was now, a ghost. Invisible. The kind of person adults looked right through. Sometimes she wondered if she'd already died and just hadn't noticed yet. The dumpster behind Elena's diner was her best chance. Elena Vance was different from other adults. She never chased Lily away, never called the police, never asked questions that led to other questions that led to men in suits who wanted to put you somewhere safe. Lily had learned about safe places. The bruises on her ribs had taught her plenty. She lifted the dumpster lid with fingers that had gone numb hours ago. The smell hit her grease coffee grounds, something sweet underneath. Her mouth watered so hard it hurt. A half-eaten sandwich, wrapped in wax paper, still soft. Lily grabbed it and stuffed it into her pocket. She'd eat it later somewhere sheltered, somewhere the wind couldn't steal the warmth from her throat before it reached her belly. That's when she heard the back door open. Lily froze. Elena Vance stepped out, arms wrapped around herself against the cold. She was 40 years old, with kind eyes and gray streaking through her dark hair. She looked directly at the dumpster, directly at Lily. "It's going to be a bad one tonight," Elena said. Not to anyone in particular. Just to the air, just to whoever might be listening. "Worst storm in 30 years, they're saying. -30 before midnight." Lily didn't move, didn't breathe. Elena set something down on the back step. A paper bag. Steam rose from inside it. "I made too much soup today," Elena continued. "Shame to waste it. Someone should take it before it freezes solid." She went back inside. The door clicked shut. Lily waited, counted to 60, then darted forward and grabbed the bag. Hot soup in a foam container, a bread roll, 2 packets of crackers, and at the bottom, wrapped in a napkin, a chocolate chip cookie. Lily's eyes burned. She wanted to cry, but she'd forgotten how. Crying was something that belonged to a different life. A life where her mother's arms could make everything okay. A life that ended 6 months ago in an abandoned cabin, with men in masks and a needle and a lie that it was just sickness. Lily shoved the memory down deep. She couldn't afford memories tonight. She needed to survive. She headed for the railroad bridge. Officer Marcus Cole was making a mistake, and he knew it. The snow was coming down so hard his windshield wipers couldn't keep up. His headlights cut through the white like weak flashlights in a fog. The road ahead had disappeared under 6 inches of fresh powder, and somewhere in the darkness his tires found the edge and slipped. He corrected, kept driving. In the passenger seat, Storm lifted his massive head and whined. "I know, buddy," Marcus said. "I know this is stupid." Storm was an 8-year-old German shepherd with a graying muzzle and eyes that saw everything. He'd been Marcus's partner for 6 years. They'd found missing children together. tracked fugitives through swamps. Once Storm had taken a bullet meant for Marcus's chest. The scar on Storm's shoulder matched the scar on Marcus's heart. But something's wrong out there. Marcus continued talking to his dog the way lonely men do. Those hikers didn't die from exposure. You saw the foam around their mouths. You smelled it. Something's killing people and nobody wants to hear it. Storm whined again, deeper this time. The radio crackled. Sheriff Briggs's voice cut through the static. "Marcus, where the hell are you? The storm's about to hit critical. Get back to the station." Marcus grabbed the receiver. "Sheriff, I'm checking out Greystone Mill. Got an anonymous tip about—" "Anonymous tip," Briggs's voice sharpened. "In this weather, that's a trap if I ever heard one. Turn around, now." "Tom, listen to me. 4 people are dead. 4. And everyone keeps saying it's the cold, it's the wilderness, it's bad luck. But I've been doing this job for 12 years and my gut says, your gut's going to get you killed. Turn around." Marcus stared at the road ahead. The mill was 2 miles out. 2 miles through a whiteout that could bury his cruiser in minutes. "Copy that, Sheriff. Heading back." He hung up the receiver. He kept driving toward the mill. Dawn. Lily found her spot under the bridge and crawled inside. It wasn't much. A hollow carved out between concrete supports lined with cardboard she'd collected over months. A sleeping bag so thin it was more suggestion than insulation. A coffee can with a candle stub inside her only source of heat. She lit the candle with matches she'd found in a trash can. The flame flickered tiny and brave. Lily unwrapped Elena's soup, still warm. She drank it slowly, letting each sip heat her from the inside out. The bread was soft. The cookie was the most beautiful thing she'd ever seen. She ate half and saved the rest. Tomorrow would come, and tomorrow would be hungry too. The wind screamed outside her shelter. Snow piled against the entrance. Lily pulled her sleeping bag around her shoulders and watched the candle flame dance. She thought about her mother. Sarah Harper had been 32 years old. She had brown hair like Lily's and a laugh that sounded like music, and hands that could make anything feel better. They'd lived in a cabin outside of town, just the two of them, after Lily's father left before she was born. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. Then the men came. Lily squeezed her eyes shut. She didn't want to remember. But the memory came anyway, the way it always did in the dark. 3 men in masks, black masks that covered everything except their eyes. Her mother screaming. "Run, Lily, hide!" The floorboards, the secret space underneath where her mother kept important papers. Lily had squeezed inside, hands clamped over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. She heard everything, the struggle, the needle. Her mother's scream turning into a moan, turning into silence. And then a voice, calm, professional, satisfied. "Successful trial. Subject expired within 4 minutes. No visible trauma. Consistent with natural causes." Footsteps. The front door opening and closing. Engines fading into the night. Lily had stayed under the floorboards until morning. When she finally crawled out, her mother was cold. The police came. They said it was an illness. A tragic, sudden illness. They said Lily would go somewhere safe. Lily ran. She'd been running ever since. Now she pressed her palm against the cold concrete and whispered, "I'm sorry, Mommy. I'm trying to be brave." The wind answered with a howl that shook the bridge. Marcus pulled up to Greystone Mill and killed his engine. The mill loomed against the storm like a dead thing. 3 stories of brick and broken windows. Smokestacks that hadn't puffed in 40 years. A chain-link fence with a no trespassing sign that hung crooked in the wind. Storm pressed his nose against the window and growled. "Yeah," Marcus said. "I smell it too. Something chemical. Something wrong." Marcus grabbed his flashlight and his service weapon. He looked at Storm. "Ready, partner." Storm's ears flattened. His growl deepened. They got out together. The snow was up to Marcus's knees. Every step was a fight. Wind slammed into him hard enough to steal his breath. His flashlight beam disappeared into white nothing 3 feet ahead, but Storm moved forward, nose to the ground, tracking something only he could sense. They found the side entrance. The lock had been cut. Recently, the metal was still shiny at the edges. Marcus pushed the door open. Inside, the wind died, but the cold didn't. And the smell, God, the smell was worse in here. Chemical and sweet and wrong, like hospitals and rot mixed together. Storm's hackles rose. Marcus clicked off his flashlight. In the darkness, he saw it, a faint glow coming from deeper inside. Yellow. Artificial. Someone was here. He moved forward, weapon raised. The mill's interior was a maze of old machinery and collapsed catwalks. Marcus navigated by the glow, stepping carefully over debris. Storm padded beside him, silent, now focused. The glow came from behind a steel door that looked way too new for this building. Marcus pressed his ear against it. Voices. Shipments delayed because of the storm. Victor's not happy. Victor's never happy. Just finished the inventory. We've got 3 more test subjects lined up for next week. Marcus's blood went cold. Test subjects. He tried the door. Locked. But there was a window above it, small, grimy, but big enough to see through. He climbed a rusted ladder, peered inside. His heart stopped. A laboratory. Medical equipment. Stainless steel tables with restraints. Refrigerators lined with vials. Computers displaying chemical formulas. And on the wall, photographs. Dozens of them. Faces. Names. Dates. Marcus recognized one. Henry Caldwell. The first hiker found dead 3 months ago. His photo had a red X through it. "Oh my God," Marcus breathed. Storm barked. The door below slammed open. Marcus spun around, reaching for his weapon, too late. The first blow caught him across the temple. He hit the ground hard, flashlight spinning away into darkness. His vision blurred. Storm lunged. A man screamed. Then Marcus heard a sound that would haunt him forever. A spray hiss and Storm's attack cry, turning into a strangled whimper. Storm. Marcus tried to rise. A boot caught him in the ribs. Then another. Then a needle, cold and sharp, sinking into his neck. "Should have stayed home, officer," a voice said. Everything went dark. Lily woke to silence. That was wrong. The storm had been screaming for hours. Now nothing. She pushed aside the snow that had piled against her shelter entrance and peered out. The blizzard had paused. Not stopped. She could see more clouds boiling on the horizon, but paused, like even the storm needed to catch its breath. The world was white. White and still, and so quiet it hurt. Lily was about to crawl back inside when she heard it. A whimper. Soft. Weak. Coming from somewhere below, closer to the frozen creek bed. Lily hesitated. The smart thing was to stay hidden. The smart thing was to mind her own business. The smart thing had kept her alive for 6 months. The whimper came again. Something in pain. Something dying. Lily cursed under her breath, a word she'd heard older kids use, a word her mother would have scolded her for, and started climbing down. The snow was up to her waist. Every step was agony. Her legs were so cold she couldn't feel them, which was bad because it meant the cold was winning. She followed the sound and found them. At first she thought it was trash. Black garbage bags, cardboard boxes, old blankets, a pile dumped at the base of the bridge's main support column. Then the pile moved. Lily stumbled closer, heart hammering. A dog, a massive German shepherd lying on his side, barely breathing. Foam crusted around his muzzle. His eyes were half open, glassy, unfocused. And beneath him, half hidden by the dog's body, a man. A police officer, his uniform torn. His face covered in blood. His skin blue. Lily dropped to her knees in the snow. Mister. No response. She pressed her hand against his chest. Felt the faintest heartbeat. Thready. Failing. No. Lily looked around wildly. The storm was coming back. She could see the wall of white advancing across the valley. 10 minutes, maybe 15. She was 7 years old. She weighed 41 pounds. She couldn't carry a grown man. She couldn't carry a massive dog. She couldn't call anyone because she didn't have a phone, didn't have anyone to call, didn't have anything except her hands, her body, her stubborn, stupid refusal to give up. Lily grabbed the officer's face between her palms. His skin was so cold it burned. Listen to me, she said fiercely. You're not allowed to die. Do you hear me? You're not allowed." His eyelids fluttered. "I know you can hear me. I know you want to let go. But I'm telling you no. Not here. Not tonight. I'm going to save you and your dog, and you're going to let me." A tear rolled down her cheek. "Please," she whispered. "Please don't leave me alone." Lily worked faster than she'd ever worked in her life. She ran back to her shelter, grabbed everything, the cardboard, the sleeping bag, the blankets, even the candle. She dragged it all through the snow muscles, screaming lungs burning. She built a wall around them, cardboard stacked against the wind, blankets layered over the officer's body, the sleeping bag wrapped around the dog who whimpered when she touched him but didn't snap. "Good boy," she whispered. "Good, brave boy." She remembered what her mother said once during a power outage in winter. "Body heat, baby. When everything else fails, we have each other." Lily didn't have much body heat. She was a skeleton wrapped in frozen skin, but she had some, and some was better than none. She curled up between them, pressed her back against the dog's heaving chest, pressed her hands against the officer's heart. The storm hit. It hit like a freight train made of ice and fury. The world became white noise and freezing wind and snow that found every crack in her makeshift shelter. Lily held on. "My mommy used to tell me stories," she said, shouting over the wind, not knowing if they could hear, but needing to talk, needing to fill the silence that meant death. She told me about knights who rescued princesses, but my favorite was the dog. A magic dog who could find anyone who was lost. He never gave up. Never. The officer's heartbeat stumbled. Lily pressed harder. "You're not giving up either," she commanded. "Your dog needs you. And I—" Her voice cracked. "I need you to live. I need to know that saving someone is possible, that everything isn't just death and cold and being alone forever." The dog's tail twitched. Lily looked at him. His amber eyes were open now, focused on her face. "That's right," she said. "Stay with me. Both of you. Stay." The storm raged. Hours passed. Lily talked until her voice gave out. Then she hummed lullabies her mother used to sing, melodies with no words, just the memory of love turned into sound. She didn't sleep. Couldn't sleep. Sleep meant they'd find her frozen next to 2 corpses in the morning, and that couldn't happen. She refused to let it happen. When her eyes started to close, she pinched her arm until she bruised. When her hands went numb, she shoved them inside her coat against her stomach. When she started to believe she was going to die, she looked at the officer's face and imagined him waking up, imagined him saying thank you, imagined someone finally seeing her, finally knowing she existed, finally caring. The fantasy kept her warm when nothing else could. Dawn came slow and gray. The storm weakened. Didn't stop, but weakened. Visibility went from nothing to 20 feet. Lily forced herself upright. Her legs didn't want to work. She made them. She looked at the officer, still breathing, barely. She looked at the dog. His eyes were open, alert, watching her. "You're stronger than him," Lily realized. "You're going to wake up first." The dog whined. Lily's mind raced. She couldn't leave them. If she left to get help, they might die before she got back. But if she stayed, nobody would ever find them. Unless... She looked at the dog again, at his collar, at the tag that said Storm. "Storm," she whispered. "Can you walk?" Storm's ears perked. "I need you to do something brave. I need you to be the magic dog from the story." She tore a strip from the officer's jacket, found a piece of cardboard, scratched words into it with a frozen chunk of ice that worked almost like a pencil. Help. Bridge. Dying. She tied the cardboard to Storm's collar with the strip of fabric. "Go to town," she said. "Find someone. Bring them back." Storm tried to stand. His legs shook. He collapsed. "No." Lily grabbed his face the way she'd grabbed the officer's. "You can do this. I know you can. You're a hero. Your person needs you to be a hero. Storm looked at her with those amber eyes, intelligent, suffering, determined. He tried again. This time his legs held. Go, Lily whispered. Fast as you can. I'll keep him alive, I promise. Storm licked her face once, a rough, warm stroke that made her cry, and then he staggered into the snow toward the distant lights of town. Lily watched until she couldn't see him anymore. Then she crawled back to the officer, pressed her hands against his heart, and started talking again. He's going to make it, she said. And so are you. And so am I. We're all going to make it. Because this isn't where the story ends. This is where it begins. She didn't know if she believed it, but she said it anyway. And she kept saying it over and over until the words became a prayer. Shh. Elena Vance was opening the diner when she saw the dog. At first she thought it was a wolf, a massive shadow stumbling down Main Street, weaving like a drunk, leaving a blood trail in the snow. Then she saw the collar. Oh my God. She ran outside, forgetting her coat, forgetting everything except the dying animal collapsing at her feet. Storm. Every officer in town knew Storm. Every shopkeeper, every child. He was famous, the canine who'd found a missing toddler in the woods 2 years ago, the canine who'd taken down an armed robber, the canine who followed Officer Marcus Cole everywhere like a shadow. Elena dropped to her knees. Her hands found the cardboard tied to his collar. Help. Bridge. Dying. She didn't understand, but she didn't need to. Elena pulled out her phone and dialed 911. This is Elena Vance. Send Sheriff Briggs to my diner right now. Tell him Storm just showed up half dead with a message. Someone's dying under the railroad bridge. Sheriff Tom Briggs had been a lawman for 38 years. He'd seen murders and suicides and accidents that made him question God's plan. He'd held dying men and told them lies about how everything would be okay. He'd knocked on doors and watched wives crumble when he delivered the news. But he'd never seen anything like this. The rescue team found them under the bridge just as the storm closed in again. A man and a child wrapped together in cardboard and blankets, barely alive. Marcus Cole, his face beaten beyond recognition, his pulse so weak the paramedic almost missed it. And a little girl, a homeless waif Briggs had seen around town but never really looked at. She was curled against Marcus's chest, her tiny hands still pressed over his heart, her lips moving in words nobody could hear. "Don't die," she whispered. "Don't die. Don't die." The paramedic tried to pull her away. She screamed, not a child's tantrum. Something deeper. Something broken. "I won't leave him. He'll die if I leave him. I have to keep his heart beating." Briggs pushed forward and knelt beside her. "Sweetheart," he said gently, "we've got him now. You saved him, but we need to take him to the hospital." The little girl looked up at him with eyes that had seen too much. "Promise," she demanded. "Promise he won't die." Briggs hesitated. "Promise." He took her frozen hands in his. "I promise we're going to fight like hell to save him, and you're going to be right there with us. Okay?" The girl searched his face for a lie. She didn't find one. "Okay," she whispered, and then she collapsed. Pinewood Falls Medical Center was chaos. 2 patients, both critical, both dying from something the doctors had never seen. Marcus and Storm the dog had been brought in too because Sheriff Briggs insisted lay in adjacent rooms hooked up to machines that beeped too slowly. Dr. Samuel Cross worked through the night. He ran blood tests, scans, everything. The results made no sense. "Sheriff, I don't know what I'm looking at." "Talk to me, Sam." "They've been poisoned. Both of them. Some kind of synthetic compound. It's attacking their nervous system, slowing everything down. Heart rate, respiration, brain function. It's designed to make death look natural." Briggs's hands curled into fists. "Designed? This isn't accidental. This is engineered. Military grade, maybe pharmaceutical. I've never seen anything like it." Briggs thought about the anonymous tip, about Marcus driving into the storm, about Storm staggering into town with a message. "Someone tried to murder one of my officers." "Not tried," Dr. Cross said grimly. "They're still dying. Whatever antidote exists, I don't have it. I don't even know where to start." "Then we find someone who does." "Sheriff, That man in there is like a son to me. And that dog saved a little girl's life tonight. You find me someone who can help, or I'll tear this town apart until I find answers myself." Dr. Cross looked at the sheriff's face and saw something he'd never seen there before. Rage. Pure, focused, deadly rage. "I'll make calls," the doctor said. "Make them fast." Lily woke up in a hospital bed. At first she panicked. Hospitals meant questions. Questions meant men in suits. Men in suits meant the group home, and the group home meant Mr. Reeves with his whiskey breath and his hands that... She started pulling out the IV. "Whoa, whoa, easy there." A nurse appeared, kind face, gentle hands. "You're safe, sweetheart. No one's going to hurt you." "Where's the officer? Where's the dog? They're being treated. I need to see them." "Honey, you need rest. You almost died out there. Your body temperature was..." "I don't care." Lily swung her legs over the side of the bed. "I kept them alive. I'm not leaving them now." The nurse opened her mouth to argue. "Let her go, Martha." Sheriff Briggs stood in the doorway. "She's earned it." Lily sat beside Marcus's bed for hours. She held his hand. It was warm now. The machines were doing their job, but his face was still pale. Still wrong. Bruises covered his jaw. Stitches held together a gash on his forehead. He looked broken, but he was breathing. "I don't even know your name," Lily whispered. "I call you the officer in my head. But you're a person. You have a name and a life and probably people who love you." She traced her finger over his knuckles. "I didn't have anyone who loved me. Not after Mommy died. But I think if she was watching, she'd say I did good tonight. She'd say she was proud." Lily's voice cracked. "I'm so tired of being alone. I'm so tired of being invisible. Everyone looks at me like I'm garbage, like I'm something to throw away." She leaned closer. "But you're not going to look at me like that. I know you won't. Because I saved your life, and that means something. That means I matter. Even if it's just to one person. Even if it's just for 1 second." His eyelids fluttered. Lily held her breath. Slowly, painfully, Marcus Cole opened his eyes. He looked at the ceiling, then at the machines, then at the tiny girl holding his hand. His voice was a rasp, barely there. Who are you?" Lily smiled through her tears. "I'm Lily, and I'm the one who saved you." Marcus stared at her. This skeleton of a child, this ghost with hollow cheeks and haunted eyes, this impossible girl who somehow pulled him back from the edge of death. "How?" He breathed. "I don't know," Lily admitted. "I just didn't let go." His hand tightened around hers. "Thank you." 2 words. Simple. But Lily felt them sink into her chest and take root. "You're welcome," she whispered. And for the first time in 6 months, she didn't feel invisible. 12 hours later, the truth began to surface. Sheriff Briggs found Marcus's body camera in his damaged cruiser. The footage was partially corrupted water, and cold had taken their toll, but enough remained. He watched it in his office with the door locked. He watched Marcus discover the laboratory. He watched the photographs on the wall, dozens of victims, their deaths disguised as accidents. He watched the attack, the beating, the needle. And then, in the final seconds before the camera died, he heard a voice. "Make sure he ends up somewhere the storm will bury him. Victor wants this clean." Victor. Briggs knew that name. Victor Crane, CEO of Crane Pharmaceuticals, the biggest donor in Pinewood Falls, the man who funded the hospital wing, the school gymnasium, the community center, the man everyone called a saint, the man who was apparently running a murder operation in the mountains. Briggs stared at the frozen screen. His hands trembled. This was bigger than a murder. This was a conspiracy. And somewhere in his own department, someone was helping Crane cover it up. He couldn't trust anyone. Except maybe He looked at the file on his desk. The intake form for the homeless girl found under the bridge. Name Lily Harper, age 7, next of kin, none. Mother deceased illness, father unknown. Briggs frowned. He remembered that name. Sarah Harper, the woman who died in a cabin 6 months ago. Natural causes, the report said. But nothing was natural anymore. He picked up his phone and made a call. Dr. Cross, I need everything you have on Sarah Harper's death. The full autopsy, every detail. Sheriff, that case was closed months ago. Reopen it. And Sam, yeah. This stays between us, no one else, not until I know who I can trust. Briggs hung up. Outside his window, the storm still raged, but the real storm, the one that would shake Pinewood Falls to its foundations, was just beginning. In her hospital bed, Lily had a nightmare. She was back under the floorboards, hearing her mother scream, hearing the needle hiss, hearing the voice say, "Successful trial, subject expired within 4 minutes." But this time, the men in masks turned toward her hiding spot. This time, they knew she was there. "The daughter saw everything," one of them said. "Victor won't like that. So, we clean up the mess." Hands reached for her. Lily screamed. She woke up thrashing, tangled in hospital sheets, heart pounding so hard she thought it would burst. The room was dark, silent, but not empty. A figure sat in the chair beside her bed. Lily scrambled backward, mouth open to scream again. "Easy, kid. It's just me." The lamp clicked on. Marcus Cole, pale and bruised and leaning on a cane but awake. Alive. "Here. They told me you wouldn't leave my side," he said. "Figured I should return the favor." Lily stared at him. "You should be in bed." "Probably." "The doctor said you almost died." "Probably. You're an idiot." Marcus laughed, then winced, hand going to his ribs. "Yeah, probably." Lily didn't know what to say. Nobody had ever watched over her before. Nobody had ever sat in the dark waiting for her to wake up. "I was having a nightmare," she said finally. "I figured. It was about my mom." Marcus's expression softened. "You want to talk about it?" Lily hesitated. The words pressed against her chest, desperate to escape. She'd been carrying this secret for 6 months, terrified to speak it aloud, terrified that saying it would make it real. But this man had almost died, and she'd held his heart in her hands all night. If she couldn't trust him, she couldn't trust anyone. "They killed her," Lily whispered. "My mommy. They made it look like she was sick, but she wasn't. I saw them, men in masks. They put a needle in her and she... The words collapsed into sobs. Marcus moved from the chair to the bed. He pulled Lily into his arms carefully, gently, the way you hold something infinitely precious and terribly fragile. "I believe you," he said. Lily froze. "What?" "I said I believe you, and I'm going to find out who did it, and I'm going to make them pay." She pulled back, searching his face. "You promise?" Marcus looked into her eyes. This broken child who had saved his life, who had survived horrors no 7-year-old should ever face, who still somehow found the strength to believe in promises. "I promise." Lily let out a breath she'd been holding for 6 months. And finally, she let herself cry. In a mansion overlooking Pinewood Falls, Victor Crane watched the storm through floor-to-ceiling windows. His phone buzzed. "What?" The voice on the other end was nervous. "Sir, we have a problem. The officer survived." Crane's jaw tightened. "I was told the storm would take care of it." It should have. But there was a witness, a child. She kept him alive somehow. And his dog made it to town with a message. Crane was silent for a long moment. "Who is the child?" "A homeless girl. Lily Harper." "Harper." Crane turned the name over in his mind. Then his eyes widened. "Sarah Harper's daughter. We didn't know she had a daughter, sir." The briefing said she lived alone. Apparently the briefing was wrong. Crane's voice was ice. That child may have seen everything. She may know faces, names. She's a liability. What do you want us to do? Crane stared at his reflection in the dark glass. Clean it up, all of it. The officer, the dog, the girl. Sir, they're in the hospital. There are cops everywhere. Then find another way. I don't care how. But by the time this storm clears, I want every loose end buried, permanently. He hung up. Behind him, his fireplace crackled. Victor Crane smiled. This was a problem. But problems could be solved, and little girls could disappear. Marcus couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he was back in that mill. The needle sliding into his neck. Storm's cry of pain. The cold voice saying Victor wants this clean. He stared at the ceiling and listened to the machine's beep. 3 days had passed since Lily saved his life. 3 days of doctors and questions and Sheriff Briggs pacing the hallway like a caged animal. 3 days of watching that little girl sit beside his bed, refusing to leave, refusing to eat unless he ate first. She was sleeping now, curled up in the chair with a hospital blanket pulled to her chin. Her face twitched with dreams, bad ones probably. She made small sounds in her throat like a wounded animal. Marcus wanted to wake her, spare her whatever nightmare was playing behind her eyes. But she needed rest. God knew she'd earned it. The door opened softly. Sheriff Briggs stepped in, his face grim. You should be asleep, Marcus said. So should you. Briggs pulled a chair close and sat down heavily. He looked older than Marcus had ever seen him, the lines deeper the gray, spreading from his temples like frost. We need to talk. About what happened at the mill. About what happened 6 months ago. Marcus frowned. I don't understand. Briggs glanced at Lily, making sure she was still asleep. Sarah Harper, he said quietly. That girl's mother died in a cabin outside of town. Official cause was sudden illness. Natural causes. And I pulled the autopsy report, made Dr. Cross take another look. Briggs's voice dropped to a whisper. Same compound, Marcus. Same damn poison that's killing you right now. Sarah Harper was murdered, and her daughter watched it happen. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. He looked at Lily, at her thin shoulders rising and falling, at the dark circles under her eyes that no child should have. She told me, he breathed. Last night. She said men in masks killed her mother. I thought, I don't know what I thought. That maybe she was confused. Traumatized. She wasn't confused. She's been carrying the truth for 6 months and nobody listened. Victor Crane. Briggs nodded slowly. His company, his operation, his poison. And somewhere in my department someone is feeding him information. Someone told him you were going to the mill. Someone set you up. Do you know who? Not yet. But I'm going to find out. Marcus tried to sit up. Pain lanced through his ribs. Easy, Briggs said. You're not going anywhere. Tom, if Crane knows I survived. He knows. The words hung in the air. Then Lily's in danger. We're all in danger. Briggs reached into his jacket and pulled out his service weapon. He set it on the bedside table. That's why I'm posting myself outside your door. And that's why you're going to keep this close. Marcus stared at the gun. In a hospital. Anywhere. Until this is over. From the chair, Lily stirred. Her eyes opened, immediately alert, immediately scanning for threats, the way a hunted animal wakes. What's wrong? She asked. Marcus and Briggs exchanged a look. Nothing, sweetheart, Marcus said. Go back to sleep. Lily's eyes narrowed. You're lying. Lily. I'm 7, not stupid. Something's wrong. I can see it in your faces. Briggs let out a breath. She's sharp, this one. Too sharp, Marcus agreed. He held out his hand and Lily climbed from the chair to sit on the edge of his bed. We think the men who hurt me might try again. We're being careful. Because of what I saw. Partly. They killed my mommy because she knew something, and now they want to kill me too. It wasn't a question. Marcus felt his heart crack. I'm not going to let that happen, he said. Neither is Sheriff Briggs, neither is Storm. At the mention of his name, Storm lifted his head from his bed in the corner. The dog was recovering faster than Marcus, younger, stronger, pure determination wrapped in fur. His tail thumped weakly. Lily looked at Storm, then at Marcus, then at Briggs. I'm not scared, she said. You don't have to be brave right now. I'm not being brave. I'm just telling the truth. Her small jaw set. I've been scared for 6 months. I'm tired of it. Now I'm angry. Briggs almost smiled. Remind me never to get on your bad side, kid. You won't, Lily said. You have kind eyes. My mommy taught me to read eyes. Something flickered across Briggs's weathered face. Something soft and sad. Your mommy sounds like she was a smart woman. She was. Lily's voice cracked. She was the smartest person I ever knew. Nobody spoke for a moment. Then Briggs stood, his knees popping. I'm going to make some calls. Discreet ones. I've got a friend at the FBI field office, someone I trust completely. If this goes as high as I think it does, we're going to need federal help. What about the rest of the department? Marcus asked. Until I know who the mole is, everyone's a suspect. Briggs headed for the door, then paused. Keep that gun close, son. And keep that girl closer. He left. Lily looked at the weapon on the bedside table. Do you know how to use that? She asked. Yes. Will you teach me someday? Marcus blinked. You're 7. 7-year-olds can learn things. Not how to shoot people. I wasn't talking about shooting people. I was talking about protecting myself. She tilted her head. There's a difference. Marcus didn't have an answer for that. Before he could find one, the door opened again. A nurse stepped in, one Marcus didn't recognize. Tall, dark hair, pleasant smile, but something about the way she moved set off alarms in his head. Time for your medication, Officer Cole, she said. Marcus's hand drifted toward the gun. I already had my medication. 2 hours ago. Doctor's orders. Additional dose. She approached the bed, syringe in hand. Storm growled. The sound was low and dangerous. The dog pushed himself to his feet, hackles rising, teeth bared. The nurse froze. That's strange, she said. He's usually so friendly. Storm doesn't growl at nurses, Marcus said. He growls at threats. The woman's pleasant smile flickered. I'm sure there's some mistake, Lily screamed. Not a scream of fear, a scream of recognition. Her eyes, Marcus. Her eyes. She was there at the cabin. I saw her eyes through the mask. The nurse lunged. Marcus's hand closed around the gun. He brought it up, but the woman was faster. She knocked it aside, sent it skittering across the floor. Storm launched himself at her. She spun, jabbing with the syringe. Storm dodged, but the needle caught his shoulder. He yelped, stumbled. Storm! Marcus threw himself from the bed. His legs buckled. 3 days of near death had stolen his strength. But he grabbed the woman's arm before she could inject more. They struggled. She was stronger than she looked, trained. The syringe gleamed inches from Marcus's neck. Then something hit the woman in the back of the head. A bedpan. She crumpled. Lily stood behind her chest, heaving another bedpan already in her hands. I told you, the little girl panted. I'm angry. Marcus stared at her, at this tiny warrior in a hospital gown, at the fury burning in her eyes. Good aim, he managed. She killed my mommy. Lily's voice shook. I remember her eyes now, blue with a brown spot. She held the needle. She was the one who... She couldn't finish. Marcus pulled her close. It's okay. We got her. We got her. The door burst open. Briggs rushed in, gun drawn. I heard screaming. He saw the unconscious woman on the floor. The syringe. Storm struggling to stand. What the hell happened? They made their move, Marcus said grimly. And they used someone from the night at the cabin. Lily looked up at Briggs. I know her face, she said. I can identify her. I can identify all of them if I see them. Briggs's expression hardened. Then we need to get you out of here. Now. The woman on the floor groaned. Her eyes fluttered open. Before anyone could react, she bit down on something in her mouth. Her body convulsed. Foam appeared at her lips. Her eyes rolled back. Within seconds, she was dead. Lily turned away, burying her face in Marcus's chest. Briggs swore under his breath. Cyanide tooth, Marcus said. These people don't play around. They're professionals, trained, well-funded. Briggs holstered his weapon. We're not dealing with local criminals. This is a full operation. So what do we do? Briggs looked at the dead woman, at Storm, who was already shaking off the effects of the partial injection, at Lily, trembling but unbroken. We disappear. Until we know who to trust, we go off-grid. Where? I know a place. Elena Vance has a safe room in her basement. Old bomb shelter from the Cold War days. Only she and I know about it. Marcus struggled to his feet. His legs wobbled but held. Can you walk? Briggs asked. I can do whatever I need to do. He looked at Lily. Can you run if you have to? The little girl wiped her eyes, straightened her spine. I've been running for 6 months. What's a little more? They moved. Briggs led them through service corridors, avoiding the main hallways. Storm limped beside them, refusing to be left behind. Marcus leaned on the wall every few steps, fighting to stay upright. Lily held his hand. Her fingers were so small, so fragile, but her grip was iron. They reached a service exit. Briggs pushed through into the parking garage. His truck was waiting. Get in, quickly. They piled inside Marcus in the front, Lily and Storm in the back. Briggs started the engine and pulled out headlights off. The storm had weakened but not stopped. Snow fell in thick curtains. The roads were empty. Elena's expecting us, Briggs said. She's been preparing since this morning. How much does she know? Enough. She's the one who found Storm, remember? She knew something was wrong the moment she saw that message. Marcus stared out the windshield. Tom, that woman back there, she was part of the team that killed Sarah Harper. Lily recognized her. If Crane sent her, he knows exactly who Lily is and what she witnessed. I know. He's going to send more. He won't stop until I know Marcus. Briggs's hands tightened on the wheel. Why do you think I'm breaking about 15 laws right now? Why do you think I'm trusting a diner owner and a half-dead K-9 officer instead of my own department? The truck hit a patch of ice. Briggs corrected. There's a mole, he continued. Someone close. Someone with access to case files, hospital records, everything. Until I figure out who we're on our own. From the back seat, Lily's voice came small and clear. I know who. Briggs nearly swerved off the road. What? The night they killed my mommy. I was hiding under the floor. I heard everything. One of them made a phone call. He called the person Ray. He said, "It's done, Ray. Subject eliminated." And Ray said something back. Marcus turned in his seat. Lily, are you sure you heard the name Ray? I'm sure. I've thought about that night every single day since it happened. I remember every word, every sound, every footstep. Briggs's jaw clenched. Ray, he muttered. Deputy Ray Hollis. You know him. He's been on the force for 12 years. Good cop, solid record. I never would have suspected. Briggs cut himself off. That's the point, isn't it? The best moles are the ones you never suspect. What do we do? Nothing. Not yet. We need proof, and we need to stay alive long enough to get it. Briggs pulled onto a side road that led toward the Old Harbor District. Elena's place is 3 blocks ahead. We'll be safe there. For now. For now, Marcus repeated. It didn't sound like much, but it was all they had. Elena Vance was waiting at the back door. She ushered them inside without a word, her face pale but determined. The diner was closed chairs stacked on tables, lights dim. This way, she said. Quickly. She led them to the kitchen, then to a heavy door behind the industrial freezer. My grandfather built this during the Cuban Missile Crisis, she explained. He was convinced the bombs were coming. Stocked it with everything. When he died, I kept it up. Never thought I'd actually need it. She punched a code into a keypad. The door swung open. Beyond was a staircase leading down. They descended into a room that looked like a small apartment. Beds, a kitchen area, shelves stocked with canned food and water. A radio set up in the corner. No windows, just concrete walls and fluorescent lights. "It's not pretty," Elena said, "but it's safe. Walls are reinforced. Doors blast-proof. No signals in or out unless you use the hardwired radio." Storm limped to one of the beds and collapsed with a groan. Lily sat beside him, stroking his fur. "Good boy," she whispered. "You protected us again. Rest now." Marcus lowered himself into a chair. His body screamed with pain, but he ignored it. "Thank you, Elena, for all of this." "Don't thank me." Her eyes glistened. "When I saw Storm stumble into my diner with that note, when I realized a little girl was trying to save a dying man in a blizzard." She shook her head. "This town has been sick for a long time, Marcus. We just didn't want to see it. All that money Victor Crane threw around all those buildings with his name on them, we told ourselves he was a saint. We didn't ask where the money came from. We didn't want to know." "You couldn't have known." "I suspected." Elena's voice cracked. "Little things. Workers from his company who came into the diner with haunted eyes. Rumors about experiments in the mountains. I told myself it was gossip. Told myself it wasn't my business." She looked at Lily. "And now a 7-year-old is braver than every adult in this town." Lily didn't look up from Storm. "I'm not brave," she said quietly. "I'm just too stubborn to die." The words hit Marcus like a punch. Too stubborn to die. That was the only reason any of them were still breathing. Briggs's radio crackled. He stepped aside to answer it. "This is Briggs. Go ahead." The voice on the other end was distorted, encrypted. "Tom, it's Wilson. Got your message. FBI's interested. Very interested. The name Victor Crane has been on their radar for 2 years, but they could never get enough evidence. We have evidence. Body camera footage. A witness who can identify accomplices. And a whole damn laboratory in the mountains. The lab's a problem. I checked satellite images. There was a fire at Greystone Mill last night. Whole place went up. By the time crews got there, it was ashes." Briggs closed his eyes. "They destroyed it. Everything. If there was evidence inside, it's gone." Marcus heard the conversation. His fists clenched. "The footage," he called. "Tell them about the footage." Briggs nodded. "Wilson, I've got body camera video showing the lab before the fire. It's corrupted, but parts are clear. And the audio captured Victor Crane's people discussing test subjects. That's enough for a warrant, isn't it?" Silence on the line. "Then, send me what you have. Secure channel. I'll push it up the chain tonight. If this is as big as you say, we'll have a team there by morning." "It's bigger," Briggs said. "This isn't just Crane. One of my own deputies is involved. Ray Hollis." Another silence. Longer this time. "You're sure?" "Eyewitness testimony. The girl I told you about, she heard his name the night her mother was murdered." "Jesus, Tom." "Yeah. So you'll understand why I'm in a bomb shelter instead of my office." "I understand. Sit tight. Keep that girl safe. She may be the most important witness in federal history." The line went dead. Briggs turned to face the others. "FBI's coming, but we have to survive the night first." "What about Hollis?" Marcus asked. "He doesn't know we're on to him. As far as he's concerned, I'm out looking for you. He thinks you escaped the hospital on your own." "How long before he figures out the truth?" Briggs checked his watch. "Couple hours, maybe less." He looked at Elena. "You should leave. If they find out you helped us..." "I'm not going anywhere." Elena's chin lifted. "I spent 60 years in this town looking the other way. Tonight I look straight ahead." Briggs almost smiled. "Stubborn woman. You're welcome." Lily suddenly looked up. "Someone's coming." Everyone froze. "What do you mean?" Marcus asked. "I hear footsteps. Upstairs. Heavy ones." Briggs drew his weapon. "Nobody knows about this place except..." The door at the top of the stairs rattled. Then a voice, muffled but clear. "Sheriff Briggs, it's Ray. Chief said you might need backup. I'm here to help." Marcus's blood turned to ice. Ray Hollis. He'd found them. Briggs raised a finger to his lips. gestured for everyone to move to the far corner of the room. Elena killed the lights. Darkness swallowed them. Above the door rattled again. Harder this time. Tom. You down there? I saw your truck outside. Open up. Silence. Lily pressed her face against Storm's fur, her whole body trembling, but she didn't make a sound. All right then. Ray's voice changed, dropped the friendly pretense. You want to do this the hard way, we'll do this the hard way. I've got 4 men with me, Tom. We're coming in. Briggs raised his weapon, aimed at the door. Marcus struggled to his feet, ignoring the agony in his ribs. He grabbed a heavy flashlight from a shelf, the only weapon within reach. The door shuddered. Once. Twice. On the third blow, the hinges screamed. Light flooded in from above. Ray Hollis stood at the top of the stairs, backlit like a nightmare. 4 men flanked him, all in tactical gear, all armed. Found you, Ray said, and smiled. Briggs fired. The first man went down. The others scattered, returning fire. Bullets chewed into concrete. Elena screamed. Marcus shoved Lily behind a shelf and threw himself in front of her. Storm launched himself up the stairs with a roar. He hit Ray at chest height. Both of them went tumbling. More shots. More screams. Marcus grabbed Lily's hand. Side exit, Elena shouted. Behind the water heater. Go! She was pointing to a narrow gap in the wall. An emergency tunnel. Marcus didn't hesitate. He pulled Lily into the darkness, Storm limping behind them. Briggs bringing up the rear with his weapon still firing. They crawled through a pipe barely wide enough for an adult. Lily led the way, small, quick, unafraid. It opens into the alley, she panted. I can see light. Go. Don't stop. They emerged into the storm. Snow, wind, chaos. Behind them, Ray Hollis's voice echoed. Find them. They can't have gone far. Briggs grabbed Marcus's arm. The marina. There's a boathouse. We can hide there until the feds arrive. They ran, or tried to. Marcus stumbled every few steps. Storm's limp had worsened. Even Briggs was breathing hard. But Lily ran like the wind. She held Marcus's hand and pulled him forward, her small legs pumping, her face set with determination. Come on, she urged. You can't die. You promised. Marcus wanted to laugh. This tiny girl dragging a grown man through a blizzard, outrunning killers, refusing to give up. She was impossible. She was magnificent. They reached the marina. The boathouse was old and abandoned, its doors hanging crooked. They slipped inside, gasping, dripping alive. For now. Briggs collapsed against the wall, clutching his side. In the dim light, Marcus saw blood seeping between his fingers. Tom. Just a graze. Briggs grunted. I've had worse. Let me see. I said I'm fine. Briggs pulled out his radio. Wilson, come in. This is Briggs. We're compromised. Hollis found us. We need that team now. Static. Wilson. More static. Then a voice, but not Wilson's. I'm afraid Agent Wilson is indisposed at the moment. Victor Crane. Briggs's face went white. Surprised to hear from me, Sheriff. You shouldn't be. I own this town. I own the police. I own the judges. And soon I'll own the federal agents too. Crane's voice was smooth-cultured, utterly without emotion. You've caused me a great deal of trouble, Tom. That little girl especially. But trouble can be solved. It always can. If you hurt her, Sheriff. I'm a businessman. I don't hurt people. I eliminate problems. And right now, you and Officer Cole and that witness are problems. The FBI knows everything. It's over Crane. Laughter. Cold and empty. The FBI knows what I want them to know. They'll find bodies in the morning, yours, I'm afraid, and a tragic story about a corrupt sheriff who helped a drug ring and got killed in a shootout. The narrative is already written. The evidence is already planted. You're dead men. You just don't know it yet. The line went dead. Briggs stared at the radio. He's bluffing, Marcus said. He has to be bluffing. Victor Crane doesn't bluff. Briggs's voice was hollow. He plans, and his plans always work. Lily stepped forward. She took the radio from Briggs's shaking hands. Let me talk to him. Lily, no. He knows my voice. He'll remember. She pressed the transmit button. Mr. Crane, can you hear me? Silence. Then, well, the little ghost speaks. I'm not a ghost. I'm Lily Harper, Sarah Harper's daughter, and I know what you did to my mommy. I'm sure you think you do. I was under the floor. I heard everything. I saw the woman with the blue and brown eyes. I heard Ray's name, and I heard what you said to my mommy before she died. Pause. What I said. Lily's voice didn't waver. You said, "Thank you for your sacrifice, Mrs. Harper. Your death will save thousands of lives." And then you laughed. And then she stopped breathing. Dead silence on the line. Marcus stared at Lily. She'd never mentioned this before. Never said she heard Crane's voice at the cabin. But now, watching her face, he understood. She'd been saving it, waiting, for exactly this moment. "You're lying," Crane said. But his smooth voice had cracked. "I'm 7 years old, Mr. Crane. I don't know how to lie very well, but I know how to remember, and I remember everything, every word, every voice, every face I saw through the cracks in the floor. This changes nothing. You're still trapped. You're still going to die." Maybe. Lily's eyes found Marcus's. "But you're going to die too. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but someday someone's going to find out what you did. And when they do, they're going to put you in a cage forever. And every night when you close your eyes, you're going to hear my mommy's voice, asking why." She released the button. Crane didn't respond. Lily handed the radio back to Briggs. "Now he knows," she said quietly. "Now he knows I'm not scared of him anymore." Marcus pulled her close. "You're incredible," he whispered. "I'm angry," she corrected. "And I'm going to stay angry until he pays for what he did." Outside, engines roared. Headlights swept across the boathouse walls. They'd been found. Briggs checked his ammunition. 4 rounds, he said. "That's all I've got." Marcus looked around desperately. Old fishing equipment, rotting boats, nothing useful. Storm growled, positioning himself between Lily and the door. "I won't let them take her," Marcus said. "Neither will I." The door exploded inward. Flashlights blinded them. Voices shouted commands. Marcus raised his hands, shielding Lily, and then a new voice cut through the chaos. "FBI! Everyone down now!" Men in tactical gear poured through the shattered door. But these weren't Crane's men. They wore blue windbreakers with bright yellow letters. Federal agents. A woman pushed through, badge held high. "I'm Agent Diane Foster. We got Wilson's last transmission before they cut him off." She looked at Briggs. "You're Sheriff Briggs. What's left of him?" "Where's Victor Crane?" "Gone. He's got Hollis and a tactical team hunting us." Foster's jaw tightened. "Not anymore, he doesn't. We intercepted their vehicles 10 minutes ago. Hollis is in custody, and Crane's estate is surrounded." Marcus felt his knees buckle. Foster caught him. "Easy, officer. It's over. You're safe." Safe. The word felt foreign, impossible. Lily tugged on Foster's sleeve. "What about my mommy?" she asked. "Are you going to prove he killed her?" Foster knelt to meet the girl's eyes. "Sweetheart, we're going to prove everything, and you're going to help us." She glanced at Marcus. "This little girl is the bravest person I've ever heard of. Kept you alive in a blizzard, confronted a murderer on the radio." "She's something else," Marcus agreed. Foster stood. "Let's get you all to safety. Real safety this time. Federal protection. Nothing touches you until this is over." They moved toward the waiting vehicles. Marcus carried Lily, who was finally letting herself be carried. Storm walked beside them, limping but proud, and behind them the storm began to break. Dawn was coming, but the real fight was just beginning. The FBI safe house was supposed to be impenetrable. 3 layers of security, armed guards at every entrance, surveillance cameras covering every angle. A location so classified that even Agent Foster's own team didn't know the address until they arrived. But Victor Crane had built his empire on doing the impossible, and he wasn't finished yet. Lily sat at a metal table, her feet dangling above the floor. Across from her, Agent Foster flipped through a stack of photographs, each one showing a face from Crane's laboratory wall. "Take your time," Foster said gently. If you recognize anyone, her. Lily pointed immediately. The woman with the needle. She was at my house the night they killed my mommy. Foster turned the photo over. Read the name. Dr. Patricia Webb, chief researcher at Crane Pharmaceuticals. She looked up. You're certain? I watched her push the needle into my mommy's arm. I'm certain. Foster's jaw tightened. She pulled out another photo. What about him? Lily studied the face. A man in his 50s, gray hair, expensive suit smile that didn't reach his eyes. That's him, she whispered. That's the voice. The one who said, thank you for your sacrifice. The one who laughed. Victor Crane. Is he in jail? Foster hesitated. That hesitation told Lily everything. He got away, didn't he? His estate was empty when we arrived. He must have been warned. Foster leaned forward. But we're going to find him, Lily. I promise you that. People make a lot of promises. Lily's voice was flat. They don't always keep them. The door opened. Marcus limped in Storm padding beside him. The dog's wounds had been properly treated, now his shoulder wrapped in clean bandages. He went straight to Lily and pressed his head against her leg. She buried her fingers in his fur. How's she doing? Marcus asked Foster. She's doing better than most adults I've interviewed. This kid is unshakable. I'm not unshakable, Lily said quietly. I'm just tired of shaking. Marcus sat beside her. Foster, what's our timeline? When can we move on? Crane. We've got warrants ready. Federal marshals are searching every property linked to his company. But Crane's smart. He's been preparing for this possibility for years. Shell companies' offshore accounts, escape routes. The man has contingencies for his contingencies. So we wait. We investigate. The body camera footage is being analyzed by our tech team. Parts of it are recoverable. And with Lily's testimony, we can build a case that'll put him away forever. Foster stood. I need to make some calls. You two stay here. Don't leave this room without an escort. She left. Marcus watched her go, then turned to Lily. You okay? No. She kept her eyes on Storm. I keep seeing her face. Dr. Webb. The way she looked at my mommy like she wasn't even a person. Like she was just an experiment. We're going to make them pay for that. What if we can't? Lily finally looked up. What if Crane has too much power? What if he makes all of this disappear? He won't. How do you know? Marcus thought about the question. Really thought about it. Because I know something about powerful men who think they're untouchable, he said finally. They always make one mistake. They underestimate the people they hurt. Like me. Exactly like you. Marcus put his hand on her shoulder. Crane thought your mother was nobody. He thought you were nobody. And that's going to be his downfall. Lily considered this. I hope you're right. Me too, kid. Me too. Sheriff Briggs appeared in the doorway. His arm was in a sling, now his face pale from blood loss, but his eyes were sharp. We've got a problem. Marcus stood immediately. What kind? The kind that walks and talks and has a badge. Briggs stepped inside and closed the door. Agent Wilson Foster's contact, the one who was supposed to be on our side, he just turned up dead in his apartment. Suicide, according to the initial report. Suicide, with 3 bullets in his chest. Marcus felt his blood go cold. Crane got to him. Crane got to someone inside the FBI. Wilson was killed before he could forward our evidence to the main office. The body camera footage, the testimony files, everything, it's sitting on his computer and nobody else has access. So we're back to square one. Not quite. Briggs lowered his voice. Wilson was paranoid. He kept backup copies of everything. Physical copies locked in a safe deposit box in Helena. His sister has the key. Does Crane know about the sister? That's what I'm afraid of. The door burst open. Agent Foster rushed in, phone pressed to her ear, face white. Get them out, she snapped. Now, we've got incoming. What's happening? Marcus demanded. Wilson's sister just called 911. Armed men broke into her house. They have her. Lily's hand tightened on Storm's collar. They want to trade, Foster continued. Her life for Lily's location. You can't give them that. I'm not giving them anything. But somehow they knew Wilson had a sister. Somehow they knew about the backup evidence. Someone in this building is talking. Briggs drew his weapon. Where's the breach? I don't know yet. But until I do, we need to move these 3 to secondary location. Beta protocol. I'll drive them myself. No. Foster blocked the door. You're injured. You stay here, help me find the leak. I'm sending Marcus and Lily with Agent Chen. He's the only person I trust completely. Why him? Because Crane killed his wife 2 years ago. Experimental drug trial gone wrong. Chen's been hunting him ever since. Marcus exchanged a look with Briggs. Sounds personal. It is. That's why I trust him. A young Asian man appeared in the hallway. 30s, hard eyes, compact build. Chen, get them to Safe House Delta. Radio silence until you arrive. Chen nodded once. Follow me. They moved fast. Down a back corridor through a service exit into an unmarked van waiting in the loading dock. Chen drove. Marcus sat in the back with Lily and Storm watching through tinted windows as the safe house shrank behind them. Where's Delta? Marcus asked. Old fire station outside of town, decommissioned, off the grid. How do we know Crane doesn't know about it? We don't. Chen's eyes met Marcus's in the rearview mirror. But staying put means dying. Moving means a chance. I don't like chances. Neither do I. That's why I've got 3 guns and a dog that could take down a bear. Chen almost smiled. Foster told me about Storm. Said he saved your life twice already. 3 times, Lily corrected. He tried to fight the woman with the needle at the hospital. That was the 2nd time. Chasing Ray Hollis was the 3rd. Smart dog. Storm's ears perked at the compliment. They drove in silence for 10 minutes. The road narrowed, trees pressed close. Then Chen's phone buzzed. He answered, listened, and his face went gray. Copy that. We're turning around. He hung up. What is it? Marcus demanded. Delta's compromised. Team arrived 5 minutes ago. Found bodies. The agents stationed there all dead. Jesus. Foster's sending new coordinates. There's a ranger station in the mountains. Remote. No digital footprint. How far? 40 minutes. Lily leaned forward. They're going to find us. No matter where we go, they're going to find us. Chen met her eyes in the mirror. Then we stop running. What? You heard me? He pulled the van onto a side road and stopped. Every safe house is compromised. Every location Crane knows about or can discover. So we go somewhere he can't predict. Where? Marcus asked. Chen turned to face them fully. You said Crane's laboratory was at Greystone Mill, that it burned down. To ashes. Fire doesn't destroy everything. The foundation, the tunnels, any underground sections, those might still be intact. You want to go back to the place where they tried to kill me? I want to go to the last place Crane would expect us to look. He thinks that evidence is destroyed. He thinks the mill is useless now. But if there's anything left, anything at all, we need it. Marcus shook his head. It's too dangerous. Lily shouldn't. I can do it. Both men looked at the little girl. I'm serious, she said. I've been scared for 6 months. I'm done being scared. I want to find the evidence. I want to make sure he goes to prison forever. Lily. My mommy died in that cabin because of what she knew. If there's proof at that mill, I want to be the one who finds it. Marcus stared at her. 7 years old, 41 pounds, eyes like burning coals. You're insane, he said. I know. This could get us all killed. I know that too. Marcus looked at Chen. The agent shrugged. I've followed worse plans. You've followed worse plans than walking into a burned-out murder factory with a child. My wife trusted doctors who worked for Crane. She took pills they gave her because she believed they would help. She died in my arms 3 days later. Chen's voice was steady, but his hands shook on the wheel. So yes, I've followed worse plans. And I've learned that sometimes the only way out is through. Marcus closed his eyes. He thought about Sarah Harper dying alone in a cabin while her daughter hid beneath the floor. He thought about the photographs on the laboratory wall. 47 faces, 47 lives erased. He thought about Victor Crane sipping wine in some hidden mansion, confident that his empire would survive. "Fine," Marcus said. "We go to the mill." The drive took 20 minutes. Greystone Mill looked like a skeleton now. Blackened brick, collapsed roof, smoke still rising from the deepest sections. Yellow police tape fluttered in the wind, already torn and faded. Chen parked behind a cluster of dead trees. "Stay close," he said. "Storm leads. He'll sense anyone before we see them." They approached on foot. Storm moved ahead, nose to the ground, ears swiveling. His body language stayed relaxed. No threats. Not yet. The main entrance was impassable. Rubble blocked the doorway completely, but Marcus remembered another way in. "There's a side door," he said. "The one I used the night they attacked me. It leads to the lower level." They circled the building. The side door was still there, scorched but standing. The lock had melted in the fire. Chen pushed it open. Inside, the smell hit them immediately. Ash and chemicals and something else, something organic and wrong. Lily gagged. "Breathe through your mouth," Marcus told her. "Don't think about what the smell is." They descended. The lower level had survived better than the surface. Concrete walls reinforced for whatever experiments happened here. The fire had touched some sections, left others almost untouched. Storm led them deeper, past burned equipment, past melted plastic and shattered glass, past a door hanging from one hinge that opened into... Marcus stopped. The laboratory. It was mostly destroyed. Flames had consumed the computers, the medical equipment, the rows of chemical samples. But in the corner behind an overturned table, a metal cabinet stood intact. "That's fireproof," Chen observed. "Industrial grade." Marcus approached carefully. The cabinet was locked. Digital keypad, now dead. "Stand back." Chen drew his weapon and shot the lock. The sound echoed like thunder. The door swung open. Files, dozens of them neatly organized, completely undamaged. Marcus pulled one out. His hands began to shake. "What is it?" Lily asked. "Test subjects," Marcus whispered. "Complete records, names, dates, causes of death, everything they tried to hide." He flipped through pages, face after face, story after story, and then, "Oh God." "What?" Chen moved closer. "What did you find?" Marcus held up a photograph. A woman, dark hair, kind eyes, a smile that looked exactly like Lily's. The name on the file, Sarah Harper, patient 0. Lily saw the picture. Her legs buckled. Marcus caught her before she hit the ground. "It's okay," he said, holding her tight. "It's okay." They wrote about her. Lily's voice was barely a whisper. They made her into a file, like she was nothing, like she was just... I know. She was my mommy." The scream tore through the ruins. Storm pressed against Lily's back, whining softly. Chen stood, guard weapon raised, giving them as much privacy as the moment allowed. Marcus held Lily while she sobbed. Held her like he would hold his own child if fate had ever given him one. Held her like he could somehow shield her from everything the world had already done. "We found it," he said finally. "The proof. Everything we need to destroy Victor Crane." Lily pulled back, wiped her eyes with dirty hands. "Then let's do it. Let's destroy him. We will." They gathered every file they could carry, stuffed them into bags Chen found in the van. Evidence of 47 murders, complete records of illegal drug trials, financial documents linking everything back to Crane Pharmaceuticals, and in the very back of the cabinet, a hard drive. "This might have digital copies," Chen said. "Video, audio, the kind of evidence that can't be dismissed." "Get it to Foster," Marcus said. "Get it to everyone. Make sure Crane can't bury this." Already on it. They climbed back toward the surface. Storm stopped. His hackles rose. His growl was low and deadly. "Someone's here," Lily breathed. Footsteps, coming from the main corridor. Slow, deliberate, confident. Then a voice, smooth-cultured, utterly without warmth. I must say, I'm impressed. Victor Crane stepped out of the shadows. He looked exactly like his photograph. Gray hair, expensive suit, smile that didn't reach his eyes. 4 armed men flanked him. I expected you to hide, Crane continued, to run, to cower in some government facility until I found a way in. But instead you came here, to the scene of my greatest achievements. His gaze fell on Lily. And you brought the child. How thoughtful. Marcus pushed Lily behind him. It's over, Crane. We have everything. The files, the hard drive. Your entire operation documented. Do you? Crane tilted his head. And you think that matters? You think evidence destroys men like me? It's going to try. I've bought judges. I've bought senators. I've bought agents inside every federal agency that might come for me. Evidence is just paper officer Cole. Paper burns. Not this time. Every time. Crane's smile widened. But I didn't come here to debate. I came to make an offer. We don't want your offers. Not to you, to her. Crane looked directly at Lily. You're the witness, the only one who can connect me personally to your mother's death. Without you, the rest is corporate liability. Fines, settlements, no prison. Lily stepped out from behind Marcus. Lily, no. Let him talk. Her voice was ice. I want to hear what he has to say. Crane's eyebrows rose. Brave little thing, just like your mother. He crouched slightly, bringing himself closer to her level. Here's my offer. You forget what you saw. You tell the FBI you were confused, traumatized, that you don't actually remember anything specific. And in exchange you live. Your friend Marcus lives. The dog lives. Everyone you care about gets to keep breathing. He spread his hands. It's a generous offer. And if I say no, then everyone dies, starting with the officer. Crane's smile vanished. I've already killed 47 people, child. What's a few more? Lily looked at Marcus. He shook his head frantically. She looked at Storm. The dog's eyes were fixed on Crane with pure hatred. She looked back at Crane. My mommy taught me something before she died, Lily said quietly. Is that so? She said that evil wins when good people stay silent. She said that speaking the truth is the most powerful thing anyone can do. She said that even if it costs everything, even if it costs your life, some things are worth dying for. Crane's face hardened. How noble. I'm not being noble. I'm being honest. Lily straightened her spine. You killed my mother. You killed 47 people. And you're going to prison forever. I don't care what you threaten. I don't care who you've bought. I'm going to tell the truth. And the truth is going to destroy you. Silence. Then Crane laughed. Such fire, I almost admire it. He stood. Kill them. Start with the dog. Chen moved first. 2 shots took down the nearest guards. The third grazed Crane's shoulder. The fourth clicked empty. Crane's remaining men opened fire. Marcus threw himself over Lily. Storm charged. Chen went down, clutching his leg. Marcus felt a bullet graze his arm, ignored the pain, grabbed Lily, and ran. The tunnel, he shouted. Back down. They plunged into darkness. Behind them, Storm's snarls mixed with screams, then gunshots, then silence. Storm. Lily tried to turn back. Storm. We can't stop. Marcus pulled her forward. He's buying us time. They'll kill him. He knows what he's doing. They ran deeper into the mill's underground maze. Emergency lights flickered. Smoke filled the corridors. Marcus had no idea where he was going, but anywhere was better than here. They rounded a corner and slammed into Agent Foster. She grabbed Marcus's arm. This way. I've got a team at the north exit. How did you find us? Chen activated his emergency beacon before he went down. Foster pressed an earpiece. Target acquired. Package is secure. All units converge on my position. They burst through a rusted door into gray daylight. Federal vehicles surrounded the building. Agents swarmed everywhere, and from the mill behind them gunfire, shouting, chaos. They've got Crane pinned, Foster said. His men are surrendering. Storm. Lily grabbed Foster's arm. My dog is still in there. Kid, I can't. He saved us. He fought them so we could escape. Please. Foster hesitated, then spoke into her radio. All units be advised. K9 asset inside the structure. German Shepherd wounded. Non-hostile. Find him. Long minutes passed. Lily stood frozen watching the mill entrance. Agents dragged men out in handcuffs. Medics rushed in with stretchers. No Storm. He's gone, Lily whispered. He's dead. He has to be dead. Then a bark. Weak, but unmistakable. Storm limped through the doorway, supported by two agents who looked like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Blood matted his fur. One leg dragged badly, but his tail wagged when he saw Lily. She ran to him, dropped to her knees, buried her face in his neck and sobbed. Good boy, she cried. Good brave boy. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Storm licked her face. Marcus watched them with tears streaming down his cheeks. This broken little girl. This magnificent, impossible dog. This miracle in the middle of hell. Foster appeared beside him. We got Crane. He's wounded but alive. Already demanding lawyers. Let him demand. His lawyers can't save him this time. We have everything. The files, the hard drive, Chen's body camera footage of the entire confrontation. Victor Crane is going to prison for the rest of his life. Marcus nodded slowly, but something still gnawed at him. Crane said he bought people inside the FBI. Wilson's death wasn't random. I know. Foster's face was grim. We're investigating, but that's a battle for another day. Right now, we need to get Lily and Storm to medical. And you too, you're bleeding through your bandages. Marcus looked at his arm. She was right, but he didn't care. All he cared about was the little girl kneeling in the snow, holding onto a dog like he was the only anchor in the world. Which for her, he probably was. Come on, Lily, Marcus called gently. Let's get Storm to a doctor. She looked up. Will you stay with us? Always. She stood one hand on Storm's collar, and together the three of them walked toward the waiting ambulances. Behind them, federal agents escorted Victor Crane to a prisoner transport. He didn't struggle. He didn't shout. He just stared at Lily with those cold, empty eyes, and smiled. That smile haunted Marcus all the way to the hospital. Because Crane had said something back in the mill, something Marcus couldn't forget. Evidence is just paper. Paper burns. What else was burning? What else had Crane prepared? The battle was won. But the war, Marcus knew in his bones, wasn't over yet. That smile haunted Marcus for 3 days. Victor Crane sat in federal custody, surrounded by lawyers refusing to speak to anyone except to demand better accommodations. He acted like a man on vacation, not a man facing 47 murder charges. And every time someone mentioned his name, Marcus remembered that smile. The smile of a man with one more card to play. You're obsessing, Briggs said, watching Marcus pace the hospital corridor. The feds have him. The evidence is locked down. It's over. Then why do I feel like it's not? Because you almost died. Because you watched a little girl fight for her life. Because trauma makes us paranoid. Briggs shifted his arm in its sling. Take the win, Marcus. We earned it. Marcus stopped pacing. Crane said something at the mill. Before his men opened fire, he said evidence is just paper. Paper burns. The hard drive is being analyzed. But Crane didn't seem worried about the hard drive. He seemed amused. Briggs frowned. What are you saying? I'm saying we're missing something. Something big. Something Crane is counting on to save him. Before Briggs could respond, Agent Foster appeared at the end of the hallway. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. We have a problem. Marcus felt his stomach drop. What kind of problem? The kind that makes everything we've done worthless. Foster pulled out her phone. 30 minutes ago, Crane's lawyers filed a motion to suppress all evidence recovered from Greystone Mill. On what grounds? Illegal search. They're claiming the FBI had no jurisdiction, that the local warrant was improperly obtained, and that the entire operation was conducted outside legal authority. That's insane. Chen was acting on... Chen is dead. The words hit like bullets. What? He died an hour ago, internal bleeding from the gunshot wound. The doctors couldn't stop it. Foster's voice cracked. And without Chen's testimony about the circumstances of the search, Crane's lawyers have an opening. Marcus leaned against the wall. This was his plan. All along, he knew we'd find the evidence. He knew we'd recover the files, and he had a legal strategy ready to throw it all out. It gets worse. Foster scrolled through her phone. The judge assigned to the suppression hearing is Harold Whitman. Crane donated $2 million to his re-election campaign last year. Can we get a different judge? We're trying. But the hearing is tomorrow morning. If Whitman rules in Crane's favor, every piece of evidence from the mill becomes inadmissible. The murder charges collapse. Crane walks free. Briggs swore under his breath. There has to be something else, another angle. There is. Foster looked at Marcus. Lily. No. Her testimony about the night her mother died. I said no. Marcus, she's our only witness who can directly link Crane to a murder. Everything else is circumstantial. Documents can be forged. Videos can be manipulated. But a 7-year-old girl who watched her mother die, that's something a jury will believe. She's been through enough. I know that, but if Crane gets out, what do you think happens to her? You think he'll let the one person who can destroy him live in peace? Marcus closed his eyes. He thought about Lily, about the way she held Storm's collar like it was the only thing keeping her anchored to the world, about the nightmares that woke her screaming every night, about the impossible strength she'd shown over and over when anyone else would have broken. I'll ask her, he said finally. But it's her choice. Not yours. Not mine. Hers. Understood. Foster left. Briggs put a hand on Marcus's shoulder. She's strong, that kid. Stronger than any of us. That's what I'm afraid of. Strong people break hardest when they finally fall. Marcus found Lily in Storm's recovery room. She was reading to him. A children's book about a brave dog who saved a village from a flood. Storm's tail wagged weakly with every page turn. Hey, Marcus said softly. Lily looked up. Is something wrong? Can I sit with you for a minute? She nodded, moving over to make room on the floor beside Storm's bed. Marcus lowered himself down, ignoring the pain in his ribs. I need to talk to you about something important. About Mr. Crane. How did you know? Because you have the worried face. The same face Sheriff Briggs makes when he's thinking about bad things. Lily closed her book. What happened? Marcus explained. Simply, honestly. The suppression hearing. The corrupted judge. The only option left. When he finished, Lily was quiet for a long time. You want me to tell everyone what I saw? Only if you want to. Only if you're ready. In front of people. In front of a courtroom, lawyers, the judge, maybe cameras. Will Mr. Crane be there? Marcus hesitated. Yes. Lily stroked Storm's ear. I've been having dreams about him, she said quietly. About his face, his voice, the way he laughed when my mommy stopped breathing. Lily, in my dreams I can't move, I can't speak. I just watch him walk away, and nobody stops him. Nobody cares. I care. I know. She looked at him with those old, tired eyes. That's why I'm going to do it. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Her voice hardened. If I don't, he wins. He walks out of that courtroom and disappears, and someday he does it again, to someone else's mommy, someone else's family. She shook her head. My mommy died telling the truth. I'm not going to let her death mean nothing. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. You're the bravest person I've ever known. I'm not brave. I'm just too angry to be scared anymore. She leaned against him. He wrapped his arm around her shoulders, and together they sat with Storm while the sun set outside the window. Tomorrow would bring the fight of their lives. But tonight, they had each other. It was enough. The courtroom was packed. Reporters lined the back walls. Camera flashes burst like lightning. The gallery overflowed with Pinewood Falls residents who'd come to see justice done or watch it fail. Victor Crane sat at the defense table, impeccable in a $3,000 suit. His army of lawyers surrounded him like a shield. He looked exactly as calm as he had in the mill, like he'd already won. Marcus sat behind the prosecution table, Lily beside him. Storm wasn't allowed inside, but Sheriff Briggs had stationed himself at the door with the dog ready to bring him if Lily needed comfort. "All rise." Judge Harold Whitman entered. Gray hair, cold eyes. The face of a man who'd sold his soul long ago and forgotten he ever had one. "Be seated." The hearing began. Crane's lead lawyer, a woman named Victoria Ashworth, presented their suppression motion with surgical precision. She attacked every aspect of the Greystone Mill search: the warrant, the jurisdiction, the methods. "Your Honor, the evidence in question was obtained through a series of procedural violations so egregious that any reasonable court must exclude it entirely." The prosecutor, a young man named David Chen, no relation to the fallen agent, fought back. "Your Honor, exigent circumstances clearly applied. Officer Cole and Agent Chen were acting on credible intelligence about imminent danger." "Intelligence from whom?" Ashworth interrupted. "A homeless child. A disgraced sheriff with a personal vendetta." Objection. Sustained. Ms. Ashworth, you will address the court, not opposing counsel. But the damage was done. Marcus watched the judge's face. Whitman wasn't even pretending to be impartial. His eyes flickered to Crane with something that looked almost like reassurance. The fix was in. "Your Honor," Prosecutor Chen tried again. "We have a witness who can provide direct testimony linking Victor Crane to murder. Testimony that is independent of any evidence recovered from the mill." "The child," Ashworth laughed. "You want to put a 7-year-old on the stand to accuse a respected businessman of murder based on memories from 6 months ago. Memories that have clearly been contaminated by repeated interactions with law enforcement. Her memories are credible. Her memories are fantasies, trauma-induced confabulations from a disturbed child who lost her mother and needed someone to blame." Lily's hand tightened on Marcus's arm. "She's lying," the little girl whispered. "I remember everything." "I know. You'll get your chance." Judge Whitman cleared his throat. "I've heard enough arguments. I'm prepared to rule on the suppression motion." Marcus's heart stopped. "Your Honor," Chen protested, "the witness hasn't testified yet. I don't need testimony to rule on a procedural matter. The evidence from Greystone Mill was obtained through an improper warrant executed without proper jurisdiction. It is hereby suppressed." Gasps erupted from the gallery. Furthermore, Whitman continued, "Given the tainted nature of this prosecution, I am dismissing all charges against Victor Crane with prejudice." "You can't do that." The shout came from the gallery. Everyone turned. Sheriff Briggs stood in the doorway, Storm straining at his leash. "Order." Whitman banged his gavel. "Remove that man. This court is corrupt and everyone knows it." Briggs's voice carried like thunder. "Crane bought you, Whitman. He bought you like he bought half this town, and you're letting a murderer walk free. Bailiff." 2 officers moved toward Briggs. Storm growled. The officers hesitated. "You want to arrest me?" Briggs laughed bitterly. "Go ahead. Arrest the man who nearly died trying to stop a killer. Arrest me in front of every camera in this room. Let the whole country see what justice looks like in Victor Crane's pocket." Whitman's face reddened. "One more word and I'll hold you in contempt." "Hold me in contempt. Judge, I hold you in contempt. I hold this whole damn system in contempt." Crane rose slowly. "Your Honor, perhaps we should adjourn. The sheriff is clearly unwell." "Unwell?" Briggs took a step forward. "I'm the healthiest person in this room, because I'm not sick with Crane's money." "That's enough." Whitman slammed his gavel. "This court is adjourned. Mr. Crane, you're free to go." The gallery exploded. Reporters shouted questions. Residents screamed protests. The bailiffs struggled to maintain order. Marcus grabbed Lily and pulled her toward the side exit. "We're leaving. Now." "But the judge?" "The judge is bought. We need another way." They pushed through the chaos into the hallway. Agent Foster met them, face grim. I saw what happened. We're appealing. To who another Judge Crane owns. There has to be something. There is. Everyone turned. Lily stood in the middle of the hallway, small and fierce. There's me. Lily. Mr. Crane thinks he's won because the judge threw out the evidence. But I'm still here. I still know what I saw. And I'm going to tell everyone. The court won't let you testify. Then I won't testify in court. Lily looked at the reporters gathering at the end of the hallway. I'll testify to them. Foster's eyes widened. A press conference? Why not? Mr. Crane thinks nobody will believe a 7-year-old. He thinks I'm too small to matter. Lily's jaw set. I'll show him how wrong he is. Marcus crouched in front of her. Are you sure about this? Once you talk to reporters, there's no taking it back. Everyone will know your face, your name, your story. Good. I want everyone to know. Lily's eyes burned. I want the whole world to hear what Victor Crane did to my mommy. Foster was already on her phone. I'm calling CNN, MSNBC, every national outlet with a camera crew. If we're going public, we're going all the way. Hence, within an hour, the hospital lobby had become a media circus. Cameras everywhere, microphones bristling like spears. Reporters from every major network jostled for position. And in the center of it all, a 7-year-old girl in a borrowed dress clutching a photograph of her mother. Whenever you're ready, Foster whispered. Lily stepped up to the microphone. The room went silent. My name is Lily Harper, she began. Her voice was small but steady. I'm 7 years old, and 6 months ago, I watched Victor Crane's people murder my mother. Flashbulbs exploded. My mommy's name was Sarah. She was 32. She had brown hair like mine, and a laugh that sounded like music. She taught me to read. She taught me to be brave. She taught me that telling the truth is the most important thing anyone can do. Lily held up the photograph. This is her. This is my mommy. And Victor Crane killed her because she found out about his experiments. She found out he was testing poison on people. Homeless people, hikers. Anyone nobody would miss. And when she threatened to tell he sent men to our house, her voice cracked. Marcus started to move forward, but Lily shook her head. I hid under the floor while they murdered her. I heard everything. I heard the needle. I heard her scream. I heard Victor Crane's voice telling her, thank you for your sacrifice. And then I heard him laugh while she died. The room was absolutely still. A judge said today that the evidence against Mr. Crane can't be used. He said Mr. Crane is free to go. Lily's chin lifted. But I'm evidence too. My memory is evidence. And you can't suppress a little girl who watched her mommy die. She looked directly into the cameras. Mr. Crane thinks he's won. He thinks his money can buy anything. But he can't buy me. He can't buy my voice. And he can't buy the truth. Tears streamed down her face, but her voice held strong. My mommy told me that evil wins when good people stay silent. So I'm not staying silent. Not today. Not ever. Victor Crane is a murderer. And I'm going to keep saying that until someone believes me. Until someone makes him pay for what he did. She lowered the photograph. That's all I have to say. The room erupted. Reporters screamed questions. Cameras clicked like machine guns. The story exploded across every network, every website, every social media platform in the country. Within hours, Victor Crane's face was on every screen in America. Not as a respected businessman, as a monster. The backlash was immediate. Crane's stock plummeted. His board of directors resigned en masse. Business partners distanced themselves. Politicians who'd accepted his donations scrambled to return the money. And most importantly, the FBI announced a federal investigation that bypassed Judge Whitman entirely. New evidence emerged. Whistleblowers who'd been too afraid to speak came forward. Former employees provided documents that hadn't been stored at Greystone Mill. The hard drive recovered from the lab was authenticated by independent experts. Victor Crane was rearrested 3 days after his release. This time, no judge could save him. But Crane wasn't done fighting. On the night before his new arraignment, Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number, he answered. Officer Cole, we need to talk. The voice was smooth, cultured, utterly calm. Victor Crane. How did you get this number? I own phone companies, officer. Getting numbers is trivial. A pause. I wanted to congratulate you. That press conference was masterful. Turning a child into a weapon, very clever. Lily isn't a weapon. She's a witness. She's a problem, but problems can be solved. Marcus's blood ran cold. Is that a threat? Consider it a prediction. I'm going to prison, we both know that now. But prison doesn't mean powerless. I have resources, connections. People who owe me favors that won't disappear just because I'm behind bars. Get to the point. The point, Officer Cole, is that little girl. She destroyed me, and I don't forget. I don't forgive. Someday, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but someday, I'm going to return the favor. Marcus's grip tightened on the phone. You touch her and you'll what, kill me? You're a police officer. You have rules. Crane laughed softly. I don't. Then I'll break the rules. Brave words. But we both know you won't. You're not like me, officer. You believe in justice, in fairness, in the system. Another pause. That's your weakness. No, Marcus said slowly. That's my strength. Because the system just beat you. A 7-year-old girl and a wounded dog and a broken system still managed to take you down. And that means everything you believe about power and money and being untouchable, it's a lie. Silence on the line. Enjoy your victory, Crane said finally. It won't last. The line went dead. Marcus stared at the phone. Then he walked to Lily's room. She was asleep. Storm curled at her feet. The dog lifted his head when Marcus entered, tail thumping softly. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. He watched Lily breathe, in and out, peaceful, safe, for now. Crane's threat echoed in his mind. Someday. Not tomorrow, not next year, but someday. Marcus made a decision. He wasn't going to let someday come. Tomorrow he would file paperwork, guardianship papers, adoption papers, whatever it took to make Lily officially his. And then he would spend the rest of his life making sure Victor Crane never touched her. He leaned down and kissed Lily's forehead. I've got you, he whispered. I promise. Storm's tail thumped again. In her sleep, Lily smiled. The next morning, Victor Crane's arraignment went exactly as expected. New charges, new evidence, a new judge with no connection to Crane's money. The prosecutor laid out a case so airtight that even Crane's army of lawyers couldn't find holes. 47 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, racketeering, bioterrorism, human experimentation. The charges went on for 15 minutes. When they were done, the judge asked Crane how he pleaded. Crane stood. He looked at the prosecution table where Lily sat beside Marcus, her hand wrapped around his. He looked at the gallery where Pinewood Falls residents filled every seat waiting for justice. He looked at the cameras broadcasting his face to the world. And for the first time since this nightmare began, Victor Crane's smile disappeared. Not guilty, he said, but his voice shook. And everyone heard it. The trial would come later. The conviction would come later. The life sentence without parole would come later. But in that moment, in that courtroom, something shifted. Victor Crane stopped being a monster. He became a man, a small, frightened man who had finally realized that all his money and power couldn't save him from a 7-year-old girl who refused to stop telling the truth. Marcus looked at Lily. She looked back at him and smiled. The same smile her mother had. The smile of someone who knew that truth always wins in the end, even when it seems impossible. Even when the world says otherwise. Even when you're 7 years old and alone and scared. Truth wins. And Lily Harper was living proof. The trial lasted 6 weeks. 6 weeks of testimony. 6 weeks of evidence. 6 weeks of watching Victor Crane's empire crumble piece by piece in front of the entire nation. Lily testified on the 4th day. Marcus sat in the front row, his hands clenched so tight his knuckles went white. Storm waited outside with Sheriff Briggs banned from the courtroom but refusing to leave the building. The prosecutor, a woman named Catherine Wells, who'd been brought in from Washington specifically for this case, approached Lily gently. "Can you tell us what you saw on the night of September 15th? Lily sat in the witness box, her feet not quite reaching the floor. She wore a blue dress that Elena had bought for her. Her hair was brushed and neat. She looked like any other 7-year-old, until she started speaking. "I was in my room when the men came. I heard my mommy scream. She told me to hide, so I went under the floor. There's a secret space there behind the loose board." "And what did you hear from your hiding place?" "Everything." Lily's voice was steady. "I heard them hit my mommy. I heard her fall. I heard one of them say they needed to administer the compound. And then I heard the needle." "How did you know it was a needle?" "Because my mommy gasped, the same way I gasp when I get shots at the doctor. And then she started making these sounds, like she couldn't breathe, like something was wrong inside her." The courtroom was absolutely silent. "What happened next, Lily?" A man started talking. He had a different voice than the others, smoother, like he was in charge. "Do you see that man in the courtroom today?" Lily turned her head. She looked directly at Victor Crane. "That's him, the man at that table. He's the one who said, 'Thank you for your sacrifice.' He's the one who laughed while my mommy died." Crane's face remained impassive, but his lawyers shifted uncomfortably. "Objection." The lead defense attorney rose. "The witness is a traumatized child. Her memories are overruled." The judge's voice was sharp. "The witness may continue." Catherine Wells nodded at Lily. "What else do you remember about that night?" "I remember staying under the floor for a long time. Hours, maybe. I was too scared to move. And when I finally came out," Lily's voice cracked, "my mommy was cold. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't looking at anything. I tried to wake her up. I shook her and shook her, but she wouldn't wake up." Tears rolled down her cheeks. In the gallery, several jurors were crying too. "I kissed her goodbye," Lily continued. "And then I ran, because I knew if they found out I was there, they'd do the same thing to me." "Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Lily?" Lily wiped her eyes. She looked at the jury. "My mommy was a good person. She never hurt anyone. She just wanted to help people. That's why she was working on exposing what Mr. Crane was doing, and he killed her for it." She turned back to Crane. "You think you're powerful. You think money makes you better than everyone else. But it doesn't. My mommy was worth 1,000,000 of you, and I'm going to make sure the whole world knows what you did to her." The courtroom erupted. The judge banged his gavel, and Victor Crane for just a moment looked afraid. The defense tried everything. They brought in psychologists who claimed Lily's memories were false. They produced experts who questioned the forensic evidence. They attacked the credibility of every witness, every document, every piece of the prosecution's case. None of it worked. The whistleblowers who'd come forward after Lily's press conference were devastating. Former Crane Pharmaceuticals employees described experiments they'd witnessed. Victims' families testified about loved ones who'd died mysteriously. Scientists explained exactly how the compound worked, how it mimicked natural causes, how it killed slowly enough to avoid suspicion. And through it all, the hard drive recovered from Greystone Mill provided a digital trail that even Crane's army of lawyers couldn't dispute. Emails between Crane and his research team. Video recordings of test subjects dying in laboratories. Financial documents showing payments to corrupt officials, including Judge Whitman. By the end of week 4, even the defense knew it was over. Their closing argument was desperate, scattered full of holes. The prosecution's closing argument was surgical. "Ladies and gentlemen of the jury," Catherine Wells said, "you have heard from 43 witnesses. You have reviewed over 2,000 pieces of evidence. And you have listened to a 7-year-old girl describe the murder of her mother in words that no child should ever have to speak." She walked slowly past the jury box. Victor Crane believed he was untouchable. He believed his money could buy anything, judges, witnesses, even silence. And for years he was right. 47 people died because of his experiments, and no one stopped him. She stopped in front of Crane. But he made one mistake. He underestimated a little girl who loved her mother. A little girl who hid under the floorboards and listened to everything. A little girl who survived a blizzard to save a dying police officer. A little girl who stood in front of the world and told the truth even when powerful men tried to silence her. Wells turned back to the jury. Lily Harper is 7 years old. She weighs 41 pounds, and she brought down an empire that countless adults couldn't touch. Not because she's special, not because she's some kind of prodigy, but because she refused to be silent, because she believed that truth matters, because she had the courage to stand up and say, "This is wrong." She pointed at Crane. Victor Crane killed 47 innocent people. He killed Lily Harper's mother, and now finally it's time for him to pay. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. When they returned, Marcus held Lily's hand so tight he worried he might break it. "Has the jury reached a verdict?" "We have, Your Honor." The foreman stood. "On the count of first-degree murder in the death of Sarah Harper, we find the defendant guilty." Lily's grip on Marcus's hand tightened. "On the count of first-degree murder in the death of Henry Caldwell, we find the defendant guilty." And on it went. 47 counts of murder. Guilty on all. Conspiracy. Guilty. Racketeering. Guilty. Bioterrorism. Guilty. Human experimentation. Guilty. By the time the foreman finished, the gallery was in chaos. Reporters shouted questions. Family members of victims sobbed with relief. Federal agents moved to take Crane into custody. Victor Crane sat frozen at the defense table. His face had gone gray. His hands trembled. For the first time in his life, the untouchable man had been touched. Marcus looked at Lily. She was crying, but she was smiling too. "We did it," she whispered. "Mommy, we did it." Marcus pulled her into his arms. "Yeah, sweetheart. We did." 2 weeks later, Victor Crane stood for sentencing. The courtroom was packed again. Every seat filled. Every camera rolling. Judge Harrison, the new incorruptible judge who'd presided over the trial, looked at Crane with barely disguised contempt. "Mr. Crane, you have been convicted of crimes that shock the conscience. You used your wealth and power to experiment on human beings. You murdered 47 innocent people and covered up their deaths. You corrupted public officials and obstructed justice at every turn." Crane stared straight ahead. "Do you have anything to say before I pronounce sentence?" Slowly, Crane stood. He turned to face the gallery. His eyes found Lily. "You think you've won," he said softly. "You think this is justice. But all you've done is proven my point. The weak will always be crushed by the strong. I crushed your mother. I crushed 47 others. And even if I spend the rest of my life in prison, there will be others like me. Others who understand that power is the only truth." Lily stood up. Every head turned toward her. "No," she said. Her voice was clear, unwavering. "You're wrong. Power isn't the only truth. Courage is truth. Love is truth. Standing up for what's right, even when you're scared, that's truth." She walked toward him. Marcus reached for her, but she shook her head. "You thought killing my mommy would make you stronger. But it didn't. It just made more people willing to fight you. Sheriff Briggs, Officer Cole, Agent Foster, Elena, me." She stopped 3 feet from Crane. "You're not strong. You're weak. You had to poison people in secret because you couldn't face them in the open. You had to buy judges because you couldn't win fairly. You had to threaten a 7-year-old because you were afraid of what she knew." Lily's eyes locked with Crane's. "My mommy was stronger than you. She told the truth even though she knew it might kill her. And now I'm going to spend my whole life being strong like her. I'm going to grow up and fight people like you. And every time I win, every single time, I'm going to remember that you thought the weak get crushed." She smiled. It was her mother's smile. You were wrong. She turned and walked back to Marcus. The courtroom burst into applause. Judge Harrison waited for silence. Then he spoke. Mr. Crane, I sentence you to 47 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. You will die in prison alone and forgotten while the people you hurt will be remembered forever. The gavel fell. Victor Crane was led away in chains. He didn't look back. The aftermath was swift. Deputy Ray Hollis received 35 years for conspiracy and attempted murder. Judge Harold Whitman was impeached and sentenced to 15 years for corruption. Dr. Patricia Webb, the woman with the blue and brown eyes, received life imprisonment for her role in the experiments. Every corrupt official Crane had bought was identified, prosecuted, and removed from power. Crane Pharmaceuticals was dissolved. Its assets were liquidated. The money went to the families of the 47 victims. And in the place where Greystone Mill once stood, the town of Pinewood Falls built a memorial. 47 names carved in stone. Sarah Harper's was first. The adoption papers took 3 months. 3 months of home studies and background checks and interviews with social workers. 3 months of Marcus proving that a single unmarried police officer could provide a stable home for a traumatized child. 3 months that felt like 3 years. But finally, on a morning in late spring, Marcus and Lily stood before a judge in family court. A different kind of court. A different kind of verdict. Mr. Cole, the judge said, a kind-faced woman named Patricia Santos. I've reviewed your petition and all supporting documentation. I've spoken with the child in question, and I've consulted with her therapist, her teachers, and everyone involved in her care. She smiled. I'm pleased to grant this adoption. Lily's hand found Marcus's. From this moment forward, Lily Harper is legally your daughter. You have all the rights and responsibilities of a biological parent. Congratulations, Mr. Cole. Congratulations, Lily. She banged her gavel, and just like that, everything changed. Marcus looked at Lily. She was crying. Good tears this time. The best kind of tears. So, he said, his own voice thick. How does it feel to have a dad? Lily threw her arms around him. It feels like home. They walked out of the courthouse into the sunshine. Sheriff Briggs was waiting on the steps with Storm. The dog lunged forward the moment he saw Lily, tail wagging so hard his whole body shook. Lily dropped to her knees and hugged him. Guess what, boy? I have a family now. A real family. You and me and Marcus. Storm licked her face until she laughed. Briggs shook Marcus's hand. How does it feel? Terrifying, Marcus admitted. I have no idea what I'm doing. Nobody does. That's parenting, Briggs grinned. But if you can survive Victor Crane in a blizzard and a 7-year-old who's smarter than both of us combined, I think you can handle this. I hope so. You will. Briggs' expression softened. You're a good man, Marcus. You always have been. And that little girl is lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one. He watched Lily play with Storm. He watched her laugh, really laugh, the way children are supposed to laugh. He watched her forget for just a moment everything she'd been through. And he made a silent promise. To Sarah Harper, to the 47, to everyone who'd ever been failed by the people who should have protected them. He would keep this child safe, no matter what, for the rest of his life. 6 months later, spring had fully arrived in Pinewood Falls. The snow was gone. The flowers were blooming. The town was healing. Elena's diner had expanded. The new wing, paid for by donations from across the country, served free meals to anyone who needed them. A small plaque by the door read Harper House, in memory of Sarah, in honor of Lily. Elena stood behind the counter watching the morning rush. 3 eggs scrambled, 2 orders of pancakes, and a waffle for the little monster at table 6. The cook laughed. That little monster saved the whole town. Don't tell her that. Her head's big enough already. But Elena was smiling as she said it. At table 6, Lily was doing homework, or pretending to. Really, she was sneaking bacon to Storm under the table. I saw that, Marcus said, sliding into the booth across from her. Saw what? The bacon. Storm needed it. He's a hero. Heroes deserve bacon. Heroes also deserve to not become overweight and diabetic. Lily considered this. One more piece. One more piece. She slipped Storm a final strip, then returned to her homework. Marcus watched her. 8 months ago, she'd been a skeleton in a threadbare coat hiding behind dumpsters, convinced she was invisible. Now she was gaining weight, getting color in her cheeks, going to school, making friends, laughing. God, she laughed so much now. Dad? The word still sent a jolt through Marcus's chest. Yeah, sweetheart. I've been thinking about something. What's that? Lily set down her pencil. When I grow up, I want to be a lawyer. Marcus raised an eyebrow. A lawyer? Not a bad lawyer like Mr. Crane's. A good lawyer. The kind who helps people who can't help themselves. Kids like me. People nobody listens to. That's a big goal. I know. Lily's chin lifted. But I'm good at big goals. I brought down a murderer when I was 7. Imagine what I can do when I'm grown up. Marcus laughed. I have no doubt you'll change the world. I'm going to try. Lily picked up her pencil again. Mommy wanted to change the world too. She was trying to expose the bad things Mr. Crane was doing. She didn't get to finish. No, she didn't. So I'm going to finish for her. I'm going to spend my whole life making sure people like Mr. Crane can't hurt people like us. Marcus reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Your mom would be so proud of you. You think so? I know so. Lily smiled. Sarah's smile. Bright and warm and full of hope. That afternoon, Marcus and Lily walked to the memorial. Storm padded beside them, his shoulder fully healed now, his limp completely gone. He'd become a local celebrity, the dog who helped bring down Victor Crane. Children stopped to pet him everywhere he went. The memorial stood at the edge of town where Greystone Mill had once loomed. 47 names, 47 stories, 47 lives that should have been lived. Lily knelt in front of her mother's name, Sarah Ann Harper. Beloved mother, brave truth teller. Hi, Mommy, Lily whispered. It's been a while since I talked to you. Things have been busy. Marcus stood a few feet back, giving her space. I have a dad now. His name is Marcus. He's really nice. He makes terrible pancakes, but Elena taught him how to make good ones, so it's okay. Storm lay down beside her. And I have a dog. His name is Storm. He saved my life. He saved Marcus's life too. He's the bravest dog in the whole world. Lily traced her mother's name with her finger. I miss you, Mommy, every day. Sometimes I wake up and I forget you're gone, and then I remember, and it hurts so much. Her voice cracked. But I'm okay, I promise. Marcus takes care of me. He tucks me in at night and reads me stories and checks for monsters under the bed. He's not you, nobody could be you, but he loves me. I can tell. She wiped her eyes. The man who killed you is in prison now. Forever. He's never going to hurt anyone again. I made sure of it. I told everyone what he did and they listened. They finally listened. She stood. I'm going to make you proud, Mommy. I'm going to grow up and be strong like you. I'm going to help people who need help. And every time I'm scared, I'm going to remember what you taught me. She placed a small bouquet of wildflowers at the base of the memorial. Tell the truth, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when everyone says you shouldn't. Truth is the most powerful thing in the world. She kissed her fingers and pressed them against her mother's name. I love you, Mommy, forever and ever. Marcus stepped forward. He put his hand on Lily's shoulder. Ready to go home. Lily looked up at him. At this man who had almost died in a blizzard. This man who had fought an empire to protect her. This man who had chosen her when no one else would. Yeah, she said. I'm ready. They walked away from the memorial. Storm trotted ahead chasing butterflies. Lily held Marcus's hand. The sun was setting over Pinewood Falls, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose, and somewhere in a place beyond the reach of pain and fear and injustice. Sarah Harper watched her daughter walk into the light. She was proud. So proud. Her baby girl had done the impossible. She had faced a monster and won. She had found a family in the wreckage of tragedy. She had turned her pain into purpose. And she was just getting started. Ahead of Lily stretched a lifetime of possibilities. College and law school and courtroom battles, love and heartbreak and triumph. a chance to build the world. Sarah had dreamed of a world where the powerful couldn't prey on the weak, where truth could never be silenced, where children like her would always have someone to protect them. Lily didn't know what the future held, but she knew one thing for certain. She was no longer invisible. She was no longer alone. She was Lily Harper Cole, daughter of Sarah, daughter of Marcus, survivor, fighter, truth teller. And nothing, no amount of money, no amount of power, no amount of threats or violence or fear would ever silence her again. Because she had learned the most important lesson of all, not from books or teachers or therapists, from a frozen night under a bridge when she pressed her small hands against a dying man's heart and refused to let go. Love is stronger than fear. Truth is stronger than lies. And even the smallest voice can change the world. All it takes is the courage to speak. 3 years later, on the anniversary of Victor Crane's conviction, a package arrived at the Cole house. Marcus opened it carefully. Inside was a letter and a photograph. The photograph showed a prison cell, gray walls, a narrow bed, a man sitting alone staring at nothing. Victor Crane. He looked 20 years older than his mugshot. His hair had gone completely white. His face was hollowed, haunted. The arrogant gleam in his eyes had been replaced by something else. Emptiness. The letter was from the prison warden. Officer Cole thought you'd want to know. Crane hasn't spoken a word in over a year, stopped eating voluntarily, refuses all visitors, including his lawyers. The psychiatrist says he's given up. Whatever kept him going all those years, his sense of superiority, his belief in his own power, it's gone. He's just waiting to die. Marcus read the letter twice, then he burned it. He didn't show it to Lily. She didn't need to know. She had already won. She had already moved on. And Victor Crane, the monster who had taken so much from so many, was exactly where he belonged. Alone, forgotten, powerless. While the little girl he had tried to destroy was out in the world, living the life he had tried to end. Going to school, making friends, learning to be a lawyer, planning to change the world. Marcus walked to the window and looked out at the backyard. Lily was there throwing a ball for Storm. She was 10 now, tall for her age, strong, still stubborn as hell, still the bravest person he had ever known. Storm caught the ball and brought it back tail wagging. Lily laughed. That sound, that pure, joyful, unbroken sound was worth everything. Every scar, every nightmare, every moment of doubt and fear. This was what they had fought for. This was what they had almost died for. This, right here. A little girl playing with her dog in the sunshine. A family that had built itself from wreckage. A future that nobody could take away. Marcus smiled, and for the first time in a long time, he didn't think about Victor Crane at all. He thought about tomorrow. He thought about next year. He thought about watching Lily graduate from high school and college and law school. He thought about walking her down the aisle someday. He thought about grandchildren who would never know the horrors their grandmother had survived. He thought about legacy. Not Crane's legacy of death and greed and corruption. Lily's legacy, Sarah's legacy. A legacy of courage and truth and love that would echo through generations. And he knew with absolute certainty that everything they had been through had been worth it. Because Lily Harper Cole was going to change the world, one truth at a time. And the world had better be ready. Outside, Lily threw the ball again. Storm raced after it. The sun continued to shine. And somewhere far away in a cold prison cell, Victor Crane took his last breath. Alone, unmourned, already forgotten. While the little girl he had tried to destroy laughed in the light, surrounded by love reaching for a future brighter than anything he had ever imagined. That was justice. Real justice. Not the kind you find in courtrooms. The kind you build with your own 2 hands, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one act of courage at a time. Lily had built it. Marcus had helped. And together they had proven something that every tyrant fears. Evil does not win. Not in the end. Not ever. Because there will always be someone willing to tell the truth. Someone willing to fight. Someone willing to stand up and say this is wrong. Even if she's only 7 years old, even if she weighs only 41 pounds, even if the whole world says she's invisible, she is not invisible. She never was, and she never will be again.